working Americans who've been struggling through this economy and suffering should have a right to expect that we take the action that they're telling us to take to cut the payroll tax. Let me just cite two examples of what people are asking us to do, two constituents, and then I'll conclude my remarks. Here is a letter from a woman in Pennsylvania, central Pennsylvania. I won't give you her name. We don't have the authority to do that, but I wanted to read some of her words. Here's what she says about how she perceives Washington and what's happening here. Just read you about two sentences. Please make sure, she says, and I'm quoting from the letter, please make sure something is done in Washington before the end of the year. I feel that no one should be able to have a break, talking about us here in Congress, no one should be able to have a break before taking action on the tax breaks that will expire at the end of this year. If you all cannot do this, then you should all leave office and let someone in there who can work together to get things done. Stay on the job, or stay and do your job, period. And then she has two exclamation points after the word period. What she's telling us is what so many Americans are telling us, is that we've got work to do here to come together, to agree, not just on a budget for the next year, but especially on something as fundamental as this payroll tax cut. So she said it very well, and she encapsulated a lot of what people are feeling. I'm just going to read you an excerpt from a second letter from a woman in the eastern side of our state, in the so-called Lehigh Valley of Pennsylvania. I won't read you the whole letter. It's about her family and some of the economic challenges they've had. I'm going to just read you two excerpts. She says, and I'm quoting, "Now I find myself questioning whether or not anyone has an answer. And if they do, will it be too late? You see, over the last 2 years, all 4 members of my family, myself included, have lost our jobs," unquote. That's one family in one part of Pennsylvania talking about how many members of her family have lost their jobs. And she expects us to get our job done here, to come together and to work together to pass a cut in the payroll tax. Later in the letter, she says this, and I'll conclude with this quotation. Quote, "We need to put people back to work. Only then can the economy get turned around. I don't care who comes up with the plan, but the parties need to work together if this country is going to survive. My family is only one example. I know of so many others who are struggling and in an even worse position than we are," unquote. She's talking about other people being in a worse circumstance, and she's got all 4 members, including herself, of her family, who have lost their jobs in the course of the last year or so. So if she can demonstrate, this woman from the Lehigh Valley of Pennsylvania, if she can demonstrate that kind of empathy and compassion and understanding of what others are going through when she herself and her family have suffered so substantially in this economy, the least that we can do here in the United States Senate, here in Washington, the very least that we can do is come together and work together to get this job done. And the leading indicator of that, I would argue, is making sure that we put in place a cut in the payroll tax, so that at a minimum, as people are still doing holiday shopping and still wanting to have a bright, happy holiday, and want to have some measure of peace of mind, some measure of security about next year, that they at least know that we came together and made sure that this payroll tax cut was in place. It's vital for the people of Pennsylvania, and I think it's essential for economic growth across the country. We need to come together and get this done. Mr. President, I would yield the floor and note the absence of a quorum.
Clerk will call the roll.